Welcome back to Indiana Diecast Racing and the culminating Round 3 action of the Final Fantasy Fracas. We've got a 5-group special today to figure out who of these remaining drivers will join the teams highlighted in green in Round 4. And just as before, only one driver from each group will advance. Alright, first up today in our Round of Death, it's Group 19. And headlining the video today is Numskull from Numskull Racing in his Dodge Super 8. He's accumulated 3-lap victories, but he's faced rather limited competition so far, so we'll see how he does. And from Arlo Racing, it's Motor Toms in his Lethal Diesel. He's got 4-lap victories, and he did beat one of Numskull's Bubble Gunners in Round 2. In another Lethal Diesel, this one for MQH Racing, it's Rocket. Rocket finished second to Motor Toms in Round 1 and then second to Arlo in Round 2. And for DRT3K, it's Michael Motorcycle in his Batmobile Frankenstein, and he'll be looking to join Cookie Monster in Round 4. We've got Numskull, Motor Toms, Rocket, and M3. A good start for Motor Toms. He's going to blast away from the group out of Turn 2 and into Hoth. Numskull is second, followed by M3. Oh, they've caught Motor Toms, who seems to have spun around. It's a 3-car group as they hit the final straight. And it's Motor Toms, Numskull, Michael Motorcycle, and Rocket. I don't know what happened to Motor Toms in Echo Base, but he gave up a massive lead and gave Numskull and M3 a chance to make the pass on the final straight, so much so that Motor Toms had to throw a slide block, but he holds on for the win, and I have a feeling this is going to be a great battle of Numskull versus Arlo Racing to kick the day off. Rocket on the pole for lap 2, followed by Michael Motorcycle, who's ironically in a Batmobile, not on a motorcycle. Rocket leads into Turn 2, and he's battling Numskull into Echo Base. Numskull comes out in front, followed by Rocket and M3. Numskull with a good lead coming to the final straight, and it's Numskull, Rocket, Michael Motorcycle. Motor Toms nearly spins out, but rolls in for 4th. Rocket able to get a sizable lead over the other lane going into Turn 2, but Numskull and Motor Toms are just so fast. And then Numskull set up on the inside of the Echo Base turn. He's able to come out in front, and that earns him a lap victory and a lead over the rest of the group. It's Numskull on top by 2 over Motor Toms. Michael Motorcycle on the pole for lap 3, and Motor Toms is ensuring he quickly moves down the track. The pair are going to come out 1 and 2. And M3, it's still M3 and Motor Toms as they round the Savage Square. Rocket closing the gap. It's M3, Motor Toms, Rocket, and Numskull. Ludicrous speed, go! M3. Whew. And after 3 laps, we've got a 3-way tie for first, with Numskull, Motor Toms, and M3 all locked up with 8. Rocket only 2 points behind with 6. And Motor Toms gets the initial lead, and Michael is not going to be able to pass him in Turn 2. It's all Motor Toms. Motor Toms looking for the group victory here. He can taste Round 4 as he rounds the final turn, and it's Motor Toms, Numskull, Michael Motorcycle, and we've lost Rocket. Rocket's on his roof, back there on the north side of the Savage Square. So Motor Toms, with 3 great laps, wins the group with 12 points. He'll move on to Round 4 as yet another Arlo Racing driver, and Numskull falls 1 point short of catching Raggedy Man. We move on to Group 20 in our Round of Death. And leading this group is Grey Wizard from Golden Owl Racing in his Salt Flat Racer. In Round 1, he beat Cookie Monster. Next up, the last driver from Junkyard Joust, it's Grogu. driving his Zoom in. He's accrued 4 lap victories and eliminated 2 Arlo drivers last round. It's another Numbskull entry. It's his, his blue and green bubble gunner. He's looking to be the 3rd bubble gunner to advance. And then the last of the Canadians, it's Hutch from the A-Team in his very nice Candy Apple Crescendo. So, Grey Wizard, Grogu, Numbskull, and Hutch. Grey Wizard and Numbskull with a good start. We'll see how Grogu does in turn 2. Yeah, he's slow. So Grey Wizard's going to pull away with the lead. Numbskull's not giving up, though. He closes the gap, gives him a tap, gives him another tap. Grey Wizard's a little loose, but takes the lap victory to open the day. Oh! Grogu rolls it on the final straight, and Hutch spins out and slides to a stop, trying to avoid hitting a baby. I don't know why we allow babies on the track. I guess we don't explicitly have a rule against it. Especially, in this case, this baby's a force wielder, so, that's got to count for something. Numbskull on the pole for lap 2. Hutch trying to follow. Wow, look at Numbskull go. There's going to be no competition coming out of turn 2. Grey Wizard's kind of there, but he's a ways back, followed by Hutch and Grogu. Numbskull's going to easily take lap 2. Oh, we got some collisions. Oh, Hutch gets smacked on the nose, but everybody finishes lap 2. Taking a closer look, Grey Wizard takes 2nd. Hutch nearly spins out, but Grogu saves him a point anyways. And after 2, it's Grey Wizard and Numbskull, all tied up at 7. Here we go on lap 3 with Hutch and Grogu on the inside, Numbskull and Grey Wizard on the outside. And Numbskull's gonna sail on past Hutch on the inside lane. And so does Grey Wizard. This seems to be a battle of 2 drivers here. And unless something happens, Numbskull's not going to be caught. Numbskull takes another lap victory. Oh, we got some spinning and collisions. And Grogu steals 2nd place, driving from 4th to 2nd on the final straight alone. Look at that. Well done, kid. And after 3, Numbskull with a 2-point lead headed to the final lap. And this group is all just Numbskull and Grey Wizard, as Grogu and Hutch have unfortunately been mathematically eliminated. Grogu with the lead for the moment. Here comes Hutch and Numbskull. Hutch gets tossed out front, followed by Grogu, then Numbskull, then Grey Wizard. Hutch and Numbskull looking for some last lap honor. Hutch takes lap 4, but it's Numbskull who wins the group with 13 points. And Grey Wizard, the 2nd place finisher, also comes up a few points short of Raggedy Man. Only 3 groups to go, and this one is number 21. Leading off, the last of the MQH Racing drivers, it's Annie in her Hot Wheels High. Coincidentally, the only bus left in the tournament. And driving an IDR-built puppy rescue car, it's Cyrano Buckminster in his Crescendo. From Arlo Racing, it's Cassie and Maddie. They've only won 1 lap so far, and they finished 2nd to both Dragon Ball G and the now eliminated DD. And it wouldn't be an IDR race if Numbskull wasn't also in it somehow. He's in his Hot Wheels 40. This is the last of his red, blue, green team. So we've got Annie, Cyrano, Cassie and Maddie, and Numbskull. So I guess there's technically 5 drivers? Or is Maddie just like the co-pilot? I don't know. Anyways, Annie leads out of turn 2, followed by Cassie and Maddie. Annie looking really good in that bus so far. It's a closer group. Oh, Cassie and Maddie getting into the others. And Cyrano Buckminster takes 2nd behind Annie. Taking a closer look, Cassie and Maddie get a little loose. That allows Buckminster to connect. Numbskull kind of gets caught up in it. And Cassie and Maddie spin some more, allowing Buckminster to get around, and Numbskull just wisely staying out of everybody's way in the back. So after 1 MQH, things looking good with that 1-point lead. Lap 2, Cassie and Maddie on the pole. And they get a good shove from Numbskull. We'll see if Annie can make the pass in turn 2. No, she can't. And Numbskull stays ahead of Annie as well. It's Cassie and Maddie, Numbskull, and Annie. Oh, Cassie and Maddie spin again. They're kind of all over the place, but they take lap 2. And Numbskull just gets obliterated by Annie. Annie takes second. Cyrano Buckminster is third, and we'll go to the replay to see what happens. Annie with a not a bad turn 2, but Cassie, Maddie, and Numbskull just able to stay a little bit faster. And I guess we're going to watch pretty much this entire race at 1/4 speed. Oh, and that's why, because Cassie and Maddie spin all the way around. I think they just wanted to get a look at Numbskull's car. And oh yeah, Numbskull rolls himself, and then Annie wasn't going to let him slow her down, so she just drives straight through him. And after 2, Annie still maintains a 1-point lead, though second place now Cassie and Maddie. Numbskull on the front row for the first time in this group, I can't say today, and it looks like he's going to take the lead, but here comes Cassie and Maddie. Nope, Numbskull stays out front. He's putting distance between him and the rest of the group as they all spread out, and out front for the first time today, Numbskull takes the lap. Cassie and Maddie are second, Annie's third, and Cyrano Buckminster limps across the line. Not sure what was going on there. Maybe he just needs an oil change or some caffeine or something. Alright, so going into turn 2, Numbskull with the lead, Cassie and Maddie challenging, and yep, Numbskull, that casting is just too good around the lane turns. He's able to get out front. And then they spread out quite a bit. And Cassie and Maddie move into a tie with Annie as we go to the final lap, though everyone is still very much in this, only 4 points from top to bottom. Cyrano Buckminster, nope. No, he doesn't. He had the lead for a second, but now he's way back in third. Numbskull and Cassie and Maddie just kind of flying away from everybody else. Numbskull looking to win back-to-back laps. He does. Cassie and Maddie get a little loose, but they're second. Cyrano Buckminster is third. Annie is fourth. And we'll get one more replay out of this group today. Numbskull just super hot down that outside to inside crossover lane. And that puts him out front, and he never looks back. And Cassie and Maddie are able to win the group, getting their second lap victory of the tournament. Annie, the second place finisher, also falling just a couple points short of Raggedy Man. So Raggedy Man, things are looking good for him and IDR. Wait, that's me. On to Group 22. It's another Numbskull driver. This one is a Sir Ominous, and the only noteworthy thing of this car in the tournament is he placed second behind Crystal ZD, who drives in the next group. And then from Flips Racing, it's Skeeter in his Governor. He's looking to be the number 3 driver for Flips to advance to round 4. And then it's Dangerous Dawn from Vapor Racing in her MST Suzuka. She finished second to both Arlo and Grey Wizard in the previous rounds. And then Tyler, the winner of the wild card bracket number 2 from Arlo Racing. He's in his Governor. So it's Numbskull, Skeeter, Dangerous Dawn, and Tyler. This is quite the headliner group, and Numbskull initially gets out front, and he's looking good. Skeeter not too far behind, and then it's Tyler and Dangerous Dawn. They round the final turn. It's Numbskull, Skeeter, Tyler spins but takes third, and Dangerous Dawn is fourth. They rotate around, putting Dawn on the pole for lap 2, followed by Tyler. The pair get a good start. Numbskull not quite closing, and it's a battle to see who's going to take the lead, and Numbskull comes out in front out of Echo Base. Dawn, the only potential challenger, but Numbskull takes lap 2, Dawn is second, Tyler is third, And is he going to do it? Skeeter wipes out on the final straight, but manages to crawl across the line for fourth. Usually on the back straight, when things are that even, that's an indicator that this is going to be a pretty close group. And Numbskull and Dawn both fighting for the lead into Ecto Base. But Numbskull with the advantage on the inside comes out in front, and that earns him a second lap victory. So Numbskull 4 points ahead of the rest of the group at the halfway point, but he'll be on the back the rest of the way. Tyler on the pole for lap 3, Dawn on the outside. Is Dawn gonna catch him? I don't know, it's gonna be close coming out of turn 2, and it's all Tyler. Tyler's out front with Skeeter right behind. It's a double governor lap. Tyler coming down the final straight will take the win. Ooh, followed by Skeeter, I think. And then Numbskull, who made a dive for the line at the last second. Let's take a closer look. Yeah, it's going to be Skeeter. And Dawn takes another 1 point lap. That's not going to help her very much, especially since she's 5 points behind. So Numbskull takes a nice lead into the final lap. The other drivers are going to have to hope for catastrophe for Numbskull here. And coming out of turn 2, Skeeter takes the lead, followed by Tyler. Then it's Numbskull and Dangerous Dawn. They're close together. Tyler not giving up all over Skeeter. Skeeter takes the win. And, ludicrous speed, go! This group is just absurdly fast. And Numbskull, with a super strong first half, wins the group by 1 point over Skeeter and Tyler. And Tyler, being a wild card, I mean, he wasn't supposed to make it this far, but this will be the end of his tournament, but he made a heck of a comeback after that wild card bracket. And the final group of the Round of Death. Leading us off is Crystal ZD from Arlo Racing in her hot Audacious. She took both first and second versus other Numbskull entries earlier this tournament. Then it's Norm Peterson from Down Squad Racing, the last driver for that team in his Lamborghini Veneno. I don't know how that car got in this tournament, but it looks pretty nice. And then from Vapor Racing, it's Georgiana in her purple Lethal Diesel. And the last driver intro for this round, it's Walter Sobchak from Dragon Wheels Racing, driving another puppy donation car built by IDR. It's a Solaire CX-4. Crystal and Norm up front, Georgiana and Walter in the back. Crystal and Georgie off to a really strong start. Kind of wondering what's going on with Norm and Walter. So far the ladies are keeping their distance. Georgiana gives Crystal a tap, and Crystal takes the opening lap for the final group. So Arlo Racing 1 point over Vapor after 1. Georgiana on the pole for lap 2, Crystal on the outside. See how Crystal does on that steeper back stretch. Closes the gap a little. Oh, it's going to be a battle into Ecto Base. And Georgiana comes out in front despite being on the outside of that turn. And coming down the final straight, they swap positions. It's Georgiana, then Crystal ZD. And the pair are now tied at 7 at the halfway point, 4 points ahead of the boys Norm and Walter. Walter now on the pole. He gets a little push from Norm. I think Georgiana's going to take him. Yep, she almost passes him before entering turn 2. And Crystal trying to find a way around. Georgiana leads Crystal. Crystal gets a little loose, and that's going to hand the lap victory to Georgiana. And, Crystal on her side, but gets pushed across the line. And we're going to have to look at replay to see who took second on this lap. Crystal nearly drives off the track, saved by that safety barrier, and then gets pushed by Walter and Norm. And I don't know, what are officials saying? Looks like they awarded points for second to both Crystal and Norm, as a distinct determination could not be made. and that's going to be good for Crystal. I think Georgiana with the lead into this final lap. Norm out front for the first time today, followed by Crystal, Walter, and then Georgiana. Norm's going to lead him to the line for the fourth time, and Crystal is second, just ahead of Georgiana. That may make things interesting. It looks like Walter has come off the track. That'll be his last lap of the tournament. Taking a closer look in the back. Oh, looks like Walter just sort of barrel rolled on the north side of the square. And we've got a tie. Crystal Ziti and Georgiana tie. So to finish the round, we're going to go to a head-to-head duck-off. This will be the first driver to win 2 consecutive laps. And due to the lap victories, I think, Georgiana started on the inside, but Crystal makes the pass. I almost said path. Crystal makes the pass. Oh, she gets loose and nearly drives off the track. Georgiana has wrecked. Crystal Ziti has recovered and will take a wild advantage after the first lap victory. She starts on the inside this time. Will Georgiana be able to pass in turn 2? Looks like she will. Yes, she does. She clears her. Georgiana's got to win this one to stay alive. They round the Savage Square, and they come to the line. Georgiana's loose. Crystal makes the pass at the line and takes the win, winning 2 laps in a row to advance as the final group winner of the round. Georgiana not able to catch Raggedy Man, so Raggedy Man will be the wild card to advance, keeping IDR in the tournament. And there you go, there's the final standings for round 3. Arlo and Numbskull, the big winners with 5 and 4 drivers, respectively. Something to keep in mind for next round, we'll go back to 2 cars advancing, and we're going to have, I believe, 3 wild cards based on their round score that could potentially advance as well. This has been Jim D for Indiana Diecast Racing. Be sure to check in next time for more slightly above mediocre diecast racing and the round 4 action of the Final Fantasy Fracas.